My own room was locked and I could not find the key, so I went upstairs and slept on one of the beds in Cohn's room. The fiesta was going on outside in the night, but I was too sleepy for it to keep me awake. When I awoke, it was the sound of the rocket exploding that announced the release of the bulls from the corrals at the edge of town. They would race through the streets and out to the bull ring. I had been sleeping heavily and I woke feeling I was too late. I put on a coat of Cohn's and went onto the balcony. Down below, the narrow street was empty. All the balconies were crowded with people. Suddenly, a crowd came down the street. They were all running, packed close together. They passed along and went up the street toward the bull ring, and behind them came more men running faster, and then some stragglers who were really running. Behind them was a little bare space, and then the bulls galloping, tossing their heads up and down. It all went out of sight around the corner. One man fell, rolled to the gutter, and lay quiet. But the bulls went right on and did not notice him. They were all running together. After they went out of sight, a great roar came from the bull ring. It kept on. Then finally, the pop of the rocket that meant that the bulls had gotten through the people in the ring and into the corrals. I went back in the room and got into bed. I had been standing on the stone balcony in bare feet. I knew our crowd must have all been out at the bull ring. Back in bed, I went into sleep. That is an excerpt from the great Ernest Hemingway in The Sun Also Rises. And Charlie, I think that there are some lessons here as we enter the bull market. The first lesson, he said, I had been sleeping heavy and I woke feeling I was too late. Friends, it is never too late. People thought this last bull run, people thought of the bull run before. It is never too late. The second one that I like from this, behind them was a little bare space and then the bulls galloping, tossing their heads up and down. It all went out of sight around the corner. One man fell, rolled to the gutter, and lay quiet. The bulls went right on and did not notice him. You don't have to do anything. Sometimes you just buy Bitcoin and you don't speculate on other things, and the bull doesn't run you over.
It is a superpower to sit on your hands and do nothing. Yes, you can retire your bloodline, but do you need to retire your bloodline today when all you have to do is set a recurring buy on river.com or a similar Bitcoin service and just do that? Colin and I are going to talk about this coming bull market, how to survive. We will do this by reflecting on the past. As we talk, Bitcoin barrels down on $100,000, something we have dreamed about for a long time. Hope you don't go anywhere. We will tell you the future by reflecting on the past. Before that, a word from our sponsor. Bitcoin Season 2 is brought to you by Botanix. Botanix Labs is pioneering a new direction for DeFi with the first EVM L2 running on Bitcoin that's built to be forward secure, decentralized, and share gas fees generated by the network with users. See the future of DeFi at Botanix, botanixlabs.xyz. That's right. We are going to tell you how to retire your bloodline by surviving the bear market. Colin made a great analogy to the running of the bulls from Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. And we have our first question in the chat from Rindell themselves. I just tuned in. Sorry, how do I retire my bloodline today? That, unfortunately, we cannot tell you. We can tell you how to retire your bloodline tomorrow. Colin, how do you feel? Or 100 years from now?
I feel good. The anticipation for 100K is pretty funny. A little sidebar, I saw Peter McCormick tweet about a bet that he made with Michael Graham back in March that Bitcoin would hit 100K before the end of the year. He bet $100,000. Michael Graham bet 20,000, with Balaji being the escrow for the bet. And it looks like Peter's going to pull it out. And I don't mean this sincerely because I don't wish any ill on Peter. I really like him, but it would just be so fucking funny if like Bitcoin was like $500 from 100K and didn't clear that hurdle for the rest of the year. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, you know, people have kind of pointed this out, but this is kind of surreal in a way, but also for a lot of people who've been around, it's like you're kind of numb to these price movements. You know, my father-in-law last night was like, "Hey, Bitcoin hit an all-time high recently," and you know, he's not one to really care about Bitcoin or understand why it's valuable. but I almost wanted to be like, actually, it's been like blasting through all-time high after all-time high since the election. But it was also one of those things where I was like, yeah,
But the
I
election was 100
expected.
years ago. The election was centuries ago,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I mean, that you can't be expected to remember that far back, Colin.
Yeah, apparently not. We have short memories here in the Bitcoin industry, but yeah, I
Well,
mean, this is the, requisite price episode. I think that all in all, it was really surreal to see Bitcoin hit an all-time high during the presidential election. Like there was huge signal there, and I'm kind of just waiting to see what happens over the next year, right? I think that my like, you know, lowbrow take on bull markets is that everyone's expectations are always far outstretching what ends up happening. And the fact of the matter is people have this irrational exuberance and they think that this time's different, it's going to be hyper bitcoinization or whatever, and like, you're not going to believe where Bitcoin goes. I think last bull market was a great example of that because everyone thought we were going over 100K. We didn't get anywhere close to it,
we still think we're going over 100K.
and
So
we might not.
we might not. Peter could get wrecked on this trade. It would be as Elon Musk, our new shadow president, says, the most ironic outcome is the most likely. So I also like to say that Bitcoin will take the most painful path to create the most pain, the max pain for all of the participants, both people who have it and people who do not. Before we get too far into that, I do want to just get into the meat of this, which is I have gone through the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive, archive.org, and I have
Yes.
looked at various where prices, yeah, as Rindle says, Max Payne is trading 99,000 for the next 8 months. That is correct. This should be your
100%.
default scenario. So given this reality, I have gone back and I've screenshotted the previous 3 cycle all-time highs on CoinMarketCap. That is 2013 at $1,100 Bitcoin. What were the top 10 cryptocurrencies according to the dominant cryptocurrency tracker? Same with 2017 and 2021. This is where Colin Charlie, who flexes shitcoin apologist, and Colin who keeps me a little more grounded. This is where we get to wax and flex our "we told you so" episode moment, because we're going to tell you DCA Bitcoin and don't look back. Do as we say, not as we do. All right. So here we are.
Dump all of your Bitcoin net worth into ordinals. Don't
Yeah.
do that.
Okay, so I have here.
So-
I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. This is the Wayback Machine, which basically screenshots or timestamps, if we want to use a blockchain term, a website, and in this case, it's CoinMarketCap.com before they got acquired by Binance and turned into the CoinMarketCap.com you know today.
This is OG CoinMarketCap. Like this is what it used to look like.
This is back when we used to put a hyphen between crypto and currency. Yeah. Yeah, dude.
How far we've
Bitcoin
come.
was capital B, it capital C oin. That is how old this is.
And back when Litecoin was still the Vegeta to Bitcoin's Goku.
Dude, go walk into any boomer scenario right now, and they're all like, "Well, I'm gonna hedge with some Litecoin because it's the silver to Bitcoin's gold."
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
some memes never die. I mean, we talked about this before the Mining Pod news roundup yesterday when we were just chopping it up with Matt. The XRP interbank settlement meme and marketing point is still very resonant with normies, and I feel like Litecoin's silver to Bitcoin's gold is just never going to go away. In fact, I'm recalling that one point when I was at Parallel and Epolis in Prague, there was this kid who walked in. They have a Bitcoin ATM there, and there's like a coffee shop in the if for people who don't know, it's a hackerspace in Prague. And there's this hackerspace with this coffee shop, and there's this one kid there. I was doing this living on Bitcoin thing for Bitcoin Magazine, and he comes in and he wants to use the ATM and also pay for coffee, but the only thing he had was Litecoin. And I asked him, I was like, well, why do you have Litecoin instead of Bitcoin? And he goes, well, because it's faster and it's cheaper to use. And I was like, well, you got me there. But it was to me very strange that this guy visited this Bitcoin mecca using what I consider to be kind of like a relic, almost like some sort of ancient totem of a time past when Litecoin was still in the top 10 of the cryptocurrencies. Anyway.
It's the thing is we will go through the snapshots over the years and you'll find that Litecoin, I think it is still in the no, it's not in the top 10.
No, it's in the top like 25, right?
Yeah, but that's really impressive regardless. Okay, so this is 2013, December 4th, when Bitcoin is trading at $1,118. The total market cap was $13 billion. And look at this crazy suite of cryptocurrencies underneath Bitcoin. We have Litecoin, not quite at $1 billion. Peercoin, a name since forgotten. I believe it was like a was it? Did it do this hybrid?
Who knows what it? I have no idea. I don't know if it was proof of stake. I feel like the proof of stake meta started evolving in the next bull market. Like you had a lot of these hybrid proof of stakes come out. People actually, I think, lost a lot of money accumulating them, thinking that they were going to have like a master node on something like Neo or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then you have Namecoin, which is the only
other cryptocurrency. Yeah, I'll let you say it.
Well, the only other proof of work use case that Satoshi thought would be relevant was, this idea that you basically have DNS registration through a decentralized system on a blockchain using proof of work for authentication and things like that. Which interesting, obviously didn't catch on. Namecoin is basically irrelevant at this point, if it ever was relevant. I don't even know if you could use it to register anything. Yeah, right now it's like this is sad. It's number 1049 on CoinMarketCap.
Yeah.
Market cap of 12.8 million.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing is back in 2013, a lot of the cryptocurrencies were just forks of Bitcoin. And so I don't know which of these are those, but many of the cryptocurrencies back then looked a lot like Bitcoin. There was not very much differentiation. But you have Quark Coin, again, don't know what the fuck that is. Mega Coin. Was that like Mega Uploads? Is that Kim.com's thing? We have
no way.
I don't know. We have WorldCoin, but this is not the same WorldCoin that you know today. But it's not a new term. We have Proto Shares, Feathercoin, and Primecoin. Again, if you look at these were in the $20 to $25 million market cap. You would call these barely qualifying Solana shitters these days in terms of scale.
The one thing I will say, though, is at least they were their own chain and they did have their own mining community, right? I mean, maybe that's like kind of irrelevant, but to me, it was like this was really, it shows how much the shitter meta has evolved, right? It's like back then you were still there was still some semblance of trying to stick to the original mission of having a decentralized ledger. What these things would do to differentiate themselves beyond Namecoin, I don't know. Not saying that they're valuable, but it's like now all of the meme coins are just launched off the back of a proof of stake chain in Solana that is highly centralized.
That is interesting. We saw, the 2013 was the last real time that we saw each cryptocurrency in the top 10 have its own distinct blockchain.
Yeah,
that is an interesting observation.
Yeah, so, for sure. And because this is pre-Ethereum, right? Ethereum launched in 2014?
Late 14, early 15 was the ICO, and then it really got its legs in 16 and 17.
Yep.
So this is 2013. Remember this. Let's go to 2017. December, and I'll have to zoom in. This is December 17th, 2017. I knew which day to look at because I remember December 17th very vividly because it kind of all happened at the same time. So
just like that blow off top where it was just like everything was just gigamooning.
Oh my God. It was like I'll actually bring up the price chart maybe in a little bit, but like people forget how quickly the tops happen.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really crazy. It was like a steady pump throughout 2017, and then November and December hit, and it was like, you know, the sky was falling upwards. It was insane.
Yeah, exactly. The floor is rising. So this was Bitcoin and Ethereum, which was hot on its tails. I remember Ethereum. The main narrative was that Bitcoin was like Facebook, and Ethereum was like Bitcoin was like MySpace, and Ethereum was
Yeah.
like Facebook, and that was the kind of main. That was the fear underneath me, because this was right around. This is right after the Bitcoin Cash hard fork. And we see here Bitcoin Cash takes a solid number 3 place with only 1/10 the market cap of Bitcoin. And this was also the Ripple run back before they split off Ripple
So
Labs from XRP. By the way, if you're listening to this and you
I
have
forgot
Ripple,
about that.
if you have Ripple, it's the dumbest fucking thing ever. They've changed
Sell
their
it.
narrative more than
Yeah.
Ethereum has. It might go
Okay,
up.
so this is a
Yeah.
really interesting point, actually, because you know I'm going to bring out the shitcoin apologist in me and
Okay.
and put the Bitcoin maximalist in a nice, neat little box and compartmentalize him and
Yeah,
listen to
let's
him
flip
screech
roles
as
here.
I
I'll
say
shit
this.
on Ripple, and you can talk about what.
Oh no, I'm going to shit on Ripple totally, but
Okay.
like, so with Ethereum and Solana and the meme coins that Solana has birthed and the DeFi Ponzi scheme markets that Ethereum birthed last cycle, while there was no clear use case, you were at least transacting the thing to interact with a marketplace of worldwide users, right? Like there were these financial tools built on top of these things, and there was economic activity that was at least predicated on some desire to farm a token or like, pump, fucking peanut coin or whatever, right? There's actual use cases, even if it's just speculation and gambling. Like, no, there is nothing about XRP that is even remotely like that. Like, no one is using it. It has no function except for speculating on banks adopting it for some, nebulous reason that still doesn't make any sense.
Well,
I mean, does that point make sense? It's like, at
no, it
least
makes sense. I mean, I'm also bitter because the one of the founders of Ripple Labs, Brad Garlic Breath or whatever, he like writes big fat checks. He writes big fat checks to like Greenpeace, specifically to campaign
yeah,
against Bitcoin. This is a very activist role he is taking in order to fight against Bitcoin. It's not like he's just like Vitalik, who says things like Bitcoin's cool, but I like Ethereum, and he goes
yeah.
off and be weird, goes gonna be weird over there. Brad Garlic Breath comes over and he actively attacks Bitcoin with his money and his giant war chest of
Yes.
delusional cult, sycophants. So
And this is important because I think most Bitcoin maximalists probably know this, but people kind of in the orbit of Bitcoin might not. Ripple, to Charlie's points, has given like, I think it's like 4 to 6 million or something like that to Greenpeace to FUD Bitcoin mining. The other just absolutely amazing thing, I think I want to let me see.
I'm gonna go down.
The SEC has, so the fact that the SEC, the XRP is kind of like ducked SEC scrutiny or complete, like, destruction is kind of incredible. Looking at this Bloomberg headline where it says the United States Securities and Exchange Commission appealed a court decision ordering Ripple to pay 125 million civil penalty for improperly selling its XRP token, a fraction of the 2 billion the regulator sought in a long legal battle with the cryptocurrency company. I don't really remember. I'm not. Oh, this was 3 days ago. This is interesting. So anyway, all that being said, like XR, like this is why people hate Gary Gensler, by the way, is
Yeah.
because like Gary Gensler would, like, his SEC would go after like the like lowest rung bullshit project that raised like, $10 million on an ICO. And meanwhile, something like XRP is just going on, for years now, kind of untouched, although obviously they're being sued. I don't know anything about the current state of that, but
Yeah, I will say so. In December 17th, 2017, Ripple or XRP now is at 70 cents, and so it's doubled today to $1.40. I don't know if that reflects a difference in supply or what has changed, but
That's funny. So it's only an increase to 2x from 2017.
yeah,
See, like, this is also why I need to be meaner when people are like, "What do you think about XRP?" I'd be like, "Fucking drop that garbage because it's not going to do anything." And there are so many other things that you actually could have used to accumulate wealth to this point, or just like, like I tell people, just like buy Bitcoin. So, but kind of let's. I'm going to leave XRP aside.
Let's go
What
to
I
the
think
next
is
one. So we have
interesting about
yeah.
well, like IOTA and
Yeah.
Cardano.
IOTA
and
was the first
NIM.
Internet of Things token, and I think
Yeah,
it
it
had
was
some
the
deal with,
DAG.
like
The DAG.
the first distributed acrylic graph. Or was that what it was called?
It was like fuck. I
Whatever.
just had
Okay. IOTA but basically I didn't know this at the time, but IOTA had kind of one controlling, like, coordinating node at the time. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like it was literally just like a server somewhere which ran the whole blockchain.
Yeah.
It was so
It's
stupid. And it's
insane.
worth zero now.
So it was the directed acyclic graph, and there was another one too, like Nano. It was called something else before that. They rebranded. I can't remember what it was called. But what was funny about this bull market, and this will maybe tie into a theme that we kind of close on at the end of the show. But every bull market has come with its own thesis for altcoins that is a thinly veiled case for utility that belies that all of this stuff is actually worthless and people are just pumping this to make money. Like, the people who are setting the theses are the ones who are letting other suckers buy into it. And for this one, you obviously had the ICO thing where people were like, we're going to put medical records on the blockchain, and there's going to be Uber on the blockchain, and there's going to be bananas on the blockchain. But then you also had this kind of mushrooming of all of these alternative consensus mechanisms that were like, well, proof of work is broken, so we're going to have this consensus mechanism, and no one really understands what it means because we're kind of making this up and building the car as we drive it. And all of the actual serious cryptographers would look at these things and be like, this is retarded. Here's why this doesn't work. But your average investor just does not have the acumen to understand these things. And so, like, you had guys like me who got in 2017, didn't know shit, and he was like, yeah, actually, Nano makes a lot of sense if you think about transaction throughput.
I mean, no, I was the same way. Although I would say by this time I was very proof of work pilled, thanks to the block size war.
Yeah.
But at this point, I didn't have a strong mental model for anything else. I was pretty I remained pretty worried that I was directionally correct but executionally failing by not being more focused on Ethereum, because that's where all the energy was for the following years. But like yeah, I mean, look at these Monero back. Monero's one of the good ones.
Monero gets a pass.
Monero gets
a pass because you can use it to buy drugs on the dark web.
Yeah. But then you have Bitcoin Gold. People forget how many forks of Bitcoin there were. Bitcoin Dark, Bitcoin Classic, Bitcoin Gold.
God. There was Bitcoin God.
Dark, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Dark, not Bitcoin God. There was probably Bitcoin God.
Bitcoin Ultimate. And Bitcoin
Ultimate
Cash really gave this strong impetus for spawning all these things. There was so much. This was honestly like, can we go back to 2017, because it was just so fucking interesting.
Yeah,
from a development and community standpoint, because this is kind of forgotten lore because there's no way to prove it. But there was a speculative attack on Bitcoin with Bitcoin Cash, orchestrated by Roger Ver and probably Bitmain, where there was a period in November where Bitcoin Cash made a run up on Bitcoin's price because Bitmain and other actors were mass selling hundreds of thousands of coins, or tens of thousands. I don't know the actual unit. And this is all kind of like, this is not well documented and kind of like scuttlebutt, but like, this is my understanding.
This is kind of like, this is almost like lore that has been passed down like
Yeah.
in
Like,
oral
gather
tradition,
around,
because
children. Let me
gather
tell you of
around, listen.
Beowulf and his thanes.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like there was this speculative attack on Bitcoin's price from this mass selling of Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash, and also hash rate, because Bitmain or some Chinese miner, I think it was Bitmain or part of like Bitmain subsidiaries, redirected a lot of their hash rate to Bitcoin Cash. And so you can go and look at the Bitcoin Cash hash rate at this time and Bitcoin Cash's hash rate almost catches up with Bitcoin's at this time. There was just so much crazy shit going
It
on.
actually did flip it. I think 2 days in 2017. I think it
Wow.
actually hash rate did flip it, and that was that was a very anxious time for me because
Yeah.
yeah.
And a lot
So
of people, I mean, I was completely new to this. I had always known about Bitcoin, but it was like, you know, what my friends used to buy like drugs off, like, you know, maybe it was a Silk Road or maybe it was White House at the time, like in college. But I didn't know anything about the internal politics or how anything works. So like this was my trial by fire, the flippening back then. And like I
yeah.
legitimately thought that there was a chance that Bitcoin Cash was going to overtake Bitcoin, because I knew nothing about any of this when I like literally walked into this like strange power struggle. And kind of
Yeah.
to your point about getting proof of work pilled, when I learned more about it, that was one of the things that really drove home, I think, like, or like cemented some of my like more maximalist tendencies, because it was such a stress test of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it passed with flying colors.
Yeah. To wrap this up, this is the 2017. This is the 2017 chart. We also have Stellar, which was the IBM. Was it IBM or blockchain? It was like a corporate blockchain, which was Stellar Lumens, and it was like, this is we're gonna trade things on the corporate blockchain that IBM has.
It was, I think it was IBM adjacent. It was started by former Ripple employees. I think maybe even Brad himself had a stake in starting it.
Jed McCaleb Ripple.
Yes,
Yeah, I remember
yes,
this. Yeah.
that's who it was. Yeah, and I actually remember. So one of my first writing gigs in crypto is like writing like introductions to all of these shit coins, and I remember reading about XLM, and it was like they had this like there were going to be like liquidity anchor points where you could like go and like you could like use your XLM for like trading it for various things. I think just to like highlight the previous point, all of these like shit coins back then had this one selling point where they were like trying to make the point that they were solving some, you know, like crazy problem in the financial system or in trade. Like this, you know, almost like, you know, insurmountable thing.
Yeah, and then we also
Oh
have
my
EOS here, which EOS is still like a major one. If you're listening to this and you don't know about EOS and you just kind of read their marketing slop, the EOS Foundation is, I rarely use the term objectively a scam, but it is objectively a scam so that they can acquire Bitcoin to then have in their treasury. EOS is a barefaced scam to get you to give them your EOS so they can acquire more Bitcoin.
They had a revolving door ICO. They raised like over $1 billion. It was just a continuous ICO that they never shut the door on. And Block One, the parent company, I believe, that launched
Still
EOS,
one of the largest holders of Bitcoin in the world. I think it may be top 5 largest holders of Bitcoin, next to the United States, next to freaking Bitfinex or Binance wallets, and then like Block One.
Just absolutely ridiculous. And the funny thing is that Block One started this exchange called Bullish, which now owns CoinDesk. So it's like there's just all of this goes really deep. You know, CoinDesk basically went from the hands of Barry Silbert, one of the largest financiers in the space, who came under massive financial stress after the last bear market for numerous reasons that we won't go into. And now it's traded hands to like one of the scammiest companies in the entire space, which is really sad. But that's not to slight CoinDesk. A lot of good friends at CoinDesk. Shout out to
we love
many
CoinDesk.
of the great editors and journalists there.
But the thing is, this is eternal September, where if you survive until the next year, you have a clean slate. You have a brain hole jubilee that happens every 4 years.
Brain hole jubilee. That's so true. Everything does just get memory hole because stuff is so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing is the FTX bankruptcy or I don't even want to say bankruptcy, the FTX scam and fleece job that they did really kind of played cover for a lot of other bullshit, because that was to this day.
People don't even refer to Three Arrows Capital anymore in normie
Right,
world.
exactly.
They don't even know what that means, and that was almost as big. It just wasn't the coup de grace of the year.
Yes, yeah, 100%. And that the fallout of FTX and the absolute scale and scope of damage that they did is so big that I feel like they are now the poster child for obviously the worst scam in crypto history. But because of that, all of the other ones are either minimized by as a result, or they're just completely overshadowed by the
even
damage.
new entrants in crypto will be like, oh yeah, I think I kind of remember Terra Luna. They don't like, I don't think the average person remembers 3AC. They kind of remember Terra Luna, but it's really just FTX. So like the meta is clearly, don't be the biggest failure. Get out with your bag. Scam enough, but not too much. Like, this is the NFT meta. Also, like some of the big NFT people, like they've literally since NFT started, even to this day, they still just use their followers as exit liquidity. This is very obvious. This is a known meta, and but the top of funnel is so huge that they can do this endlessly. This is where I am. This is where Colin and I do tell you how to survive, because if you're joining this right now, we are reviewing the CoinMarketCap Wayback Machine. We're looking at snapshots of CoinMarketCap at the previous cycle all-time highs. We just looked at December 2017, Bitcoin, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, IOTA, Cardano, IOTA, Dash, Monero,
and some other just gems here. There's Neo, which was going to be the Chinese Ethereum. I mean, again, I really want to hammer home this point. Every single cycle, there are these absolutely brain dead, knuckle dragging theses that get added to these coins and these projects that are used as marketing tools to try to suck up as much capital as possible. And none of them end up ever coming to fruition. The only ones I think that you can argue have ever actually kind of played out in multiple cycles. And I don't even know if you can say that, because I was going to say like DeFi stuff on Ethereum, but Ethereum has taken a huge backseat, just an absolutely insane backseat to Solana. And also Bitcoin. I mean, all of the
Bitcoin.
Digital collectible meta has shifted to Bitcoin at this point. And some Solana. But like, to me, it's like, it's just the pendulum, or perhaps the momentum for a lot of these things often gets transferred to a new chain or a new project every single cycle. That being said, Solana has found a way to keep itself relevant, because it was kind of like the cool, faster Ethereum that was like not trying to pretend that it was decentralized last cycle. And now people have found new use cases for it to launch these absolute shit meme coins that are kind of the purest form of speculation and gambling that we have seen yet, I think, in the crypto ecosystem.
You'll notice that the trajectory of whatever the couple, like that the couple hot things that are not Bitcoin, they are fun and they drive a lot of user influx, but they just take what has been demonstrated before, which is the old, tired, legacy, boring blockchains, and they just take all the trade-offs and they make them unabashedly and say, now buy the token. And I think this is, and I do kind of appreciate the candor that I see across the ecosystem lately, but on this topic, it's a little more honest. But regardless, the big point that we're trying to make is, how do you survive the bull market? As per the title, buy Bitcoin and don't let go. If you end this bull market with less Bitcoin than you started it, you are a fool. And I hope you learn so that the next bull market, which will still be early, you can finally succeed and end up with more Bitcoin on the other side.
To highlight Charlie's point, I want to read the thing one more time. One man fell. This is during the running of the bulls in Pamplona, Spain, during the novel "The Sun Also Rises" by Ernest Hemingway. One man fell, rolled to the gutter, and lay quiet, but the bulls went right on and did not notice him. Did not notice him. Stay humble, stack sats. Be like the guy who rolled into the gutter.
Yeah. Maybe pick like one hardcore Bitcoin maxi podcast and listen to that as your kind of like grounding for the week. And then you can go and listen to all like the bullishes and the 1000x's and those other fun, meme coin podcasts. But maybe start your week with like a Tales from the Crypt or something.
Yeah.
And then like listen to Bitcoin Season 2 every day, obviously. But then you can end your week with the drunken champagne fueled speedy 1000x podcast or whatever. So just 100%. To get your rocks off there. Okay. 2021, the year that burns in all of our memories. This is Bitcoin now firmly on top, Ethereum very, very powerful, the DeFi year. Binance Coin, BNB, sure. the year of the
the year of the exchange token in a lot of ways. A lot of these exchanges started launching tokens back in the bear market of 2018 and 2019. Kind of an interesting gimmick because if you use the token to trade, you saved on fees. So for traders, this was a no-brainer, and they ended up actually probably making out pretty well if they accumulated a lot of these things. And then, somehow Cardano, a perennial, top tenor after I don't, I have no idea.
It won't die. It's now coming to Bitcoin, says Charles Hoskinson.
Yeah, right. He wants to do like a Bitcoin layer 2 with it. I mean, it's number
UTXO
9
based,
still.
bro. It's UTXO based. It fits right on.
I don't understand it, but whatever.
We have Uniswap here at the same time. Uniswap, the largest like pioneered the really kicked off DeFi summer and pioneered the decentralized exchange on Ethereum. Uniswap, interestingly, now is pretty much leaving Ethereum, starting its own chain. Because why
really?
Give all your this is yet another, put this in the pile of existential crises happening to ETH right now. The app or the DApp. No, it's just put it over there with all the other shit. Roll up the roll-up centric roadmap because we're jury's out on that. Uniswap, which provides at times 50% of the fees on ETH, I think, has launched its own chain and is trying to like point people over to that. So now if Ethereum's block space is kind of is diminishing.
What are we going to use it for? I mean, I don't want to say that all of this started when they went to proof of stake because that's not true.
But it did.
It did. It coincided. Whether or not that was the match that lit off the powder keg is, subject for scrutiny. But at the end of the day, it does seem like it's slipped further into irrelevance since that happened.
Yeah. So jury is not out on Ethereum, but it's clearly not in the driver's seat for the foreseeable future. We Bitcoiners know how this feels. If you're in Ethereum listening to this, we've been there and we're out on the other side. Best wishes to you. I don't really care what happens to Ethereum, but I don't wish you pain. Oh, there you go. So anyway, here we have XRP, where Ripple Labs has, for compliance purposes, spun out the token separate from the company. So that's totally different, bro. And so XRP's over here doing
totally not a security, bro.
Totally not
separate bro. From the company.
Cardano updated its logo. Polkadot, which
was founded by one of the Ethereum founders, Gavin. I can't remember his last name, but
yeah.
I feel like Polkadot had. So it was funny. It was like out of the last bull market, I think you really had like at least from what I could tell, you had like 3 Ethereum competitors that people took seriously or were trying to be like, new proof of stake DeFi. It was Solana, Polkadot, and Avalanche. And it seems to me that, and I guess you could say Tron, but Tron had been around before. But anyway, Tron was launched, I think, in like 2016 or 2017. But regardless, you kind of had this marathon to see who could catch up to Ethereum. And I think at least currently Solana clearly won that early race. Polkadot not relevant at all. 16 on CoinMarketCap currently behind Avalanche and Tron.
Well,
which
you could
are
say that about
11.
Polkadot, but they still have a very, very gratuitous budget, and they are the title sponsor of, I believe, a lot of Blockworks content. So,
I just, we should do this is not a shitcoin podcast, despite what you might think listening to this episode.
This is Bitcoin season 2, where we as Bitcoiners talk about other cryptocurrencies. This is that's the position.
Charlie's defending the show manifest.
I'm saying, man, like you don't hear you don't hear a Bitcoin show which is familiar with broader crypto. They throw that out and they pretend they don't exist, and that's why they're just not that interesting, frankly. So
yeah, that's true. All that being said, I would just be curious. We could do another show one time where we look at actual like transaction volumes on these different chains and like real economic activity, right?
Well, I'm afraid you would find that some of them could rival Bitcoin and make us look kind of dumb.
Hey, watch it.
I'm just saying.
Watch it. Do not insult the orange coin.
we got Chainlink on here again. This is 2021. This is the first half of 2021. Chainlink, where the Link Marines have finally won. The Link Marines built a cult of
on 4chan.
Where they came up with the term "have fun staying poor."
Yes, most people don't know this, but Udi totally appropriated that from a bunch of basement-dwelling autists on the Biz forum on 4chan. And for those who were not on 4chan during the 2017 bull run,
it was amazing.
It was, it was pretty awesome. Biz was hilarious, also kind of dark, but like I cannot impress upon people how insane the shilling of Chainlink was. And I was at a conference, I believe in 2018 or 19. Maybe it was later. I can't remember. I think it was 2019. But I went to the Chainlink booth and I asked their marketing director, I was like, so are you aware of how many people on like 4chan are shilling Link? And he goes, we have a very active community. Yes. It's like, yeah, very active community. That being said, for the people who held, Chainlink minted many a millionaire, I think.
Yeah,
because like it was one of the, like, next to Bitcoin, it is one of the only like stay humble, stack this coin cults that I have ever seen. Like people would legitimately dollar cost average into it with the hopes that Chainlink would become the de facto oracle for Ethereum, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, you got to hand it to him, because now the question is, why does it need a token? but directionally, like, it was very right in that oracles do kind of govern half the ecosystem. Yes. In fact, oracles probably will continue to be even more important, especially as Bitcoin starts to reference off-chain assets through discrete log contracts and other things. So. Yep. Yeah. Any more on 2021 other than
let's scroll down a little bit. I feel like
this actually is, hold on, I'll have to switch. Luckily I have the actual website pulled up.
Okay, so Dogecoin lurking around at the, oh my god, Shiba Inu.
I
forgot about Shiba Inu. I had a pitch from a PR flack today or this week that was trying to get me to have an interview with like a billionaire from Shiba Inu. And I just like, this is the kind of stuff that I get sent, and it makes me wonder if I should have like done something else. Yeah, I mean, just some weird. Oh yeah, Algorand. I forgot about Algorand. Oh my god, VeChain. The supply chain blockchain use case thing. That just so many absolute shitters in here. Oh my god, ICP, the internet computer.
The computer of the internet, baby. Man. Filecoin storage on the internet, which is funny because
shout out to the decentralized storage ones. It's like Filecoin and a few others. They really tried. They really tried. Oh, DAI. Pour one out for the
Yeah.
pour one out for the original kind of decentralized stablecoin that ended up converging on other stablecoins. So
As
for those who don't,
predicted.
yeah, it's true. I mean, you kind of have to expect it to happen. But for those who don't know, DAI was an Ethereum, or I guess still is, but it's an Ethereum project where you create a stablecoin by backing it with ETH, and you have to over collateralize it. And so when ETH started having stablecoins on chain, like obviously the people issuing the loans for the stablecoin were just like, okay, we're just going to start taking USDC and USDT and use that to underpin the liquidity, because you don't have to worry about over collateralizing. It's just more efficient. So it's basically a stablecoin that is literally contingent on other stablecoins for its survival. Cosmos, another one of the Ethereum killers.
Well, I think I don't know. I feel like a bit of like a Cosmos apologist. In fact, in that I've learned some history on it, because I always thought like smart people worked on it, but it never kind of like reflected in ecosystem use. I understand that I think the early founders of Cosmos and their consensus like assumed that they were going to actually get to plug directly into ETH, as supposedly Vitalik had said. Yeah, part of ETH's roadmap is to do certain things, which would make your Cosmos chain interoperable naturally with Ethereum. And then Ethereum chose not to pursue that roadmap. So put another one in the pile of the Ethereum why it doesn't have very much steam, because Ethereum changes its roadmap all the time. It doesn't know what it is. Some might say that's a strength. Right now, the market says that's a weakness.
I think that capriciousness and a lack of vision is actually really bad for a supposedly decentralized network.
And I also want to say, this is when CoinMarketCap in 2021 started adding the hot tokens, and we saw some fun ones such as Cumstar, Chiborg Inu.
Oh my god.
Bullshit like this.
Angry Squid. I mean, this is why no one takes this. This is why it's been very hard for us to garner any sense of legitimacy with anyone outside of this ecosystem, is because you've got like Cumstar token and and Angry Squid, just minting millionaires overnight. It's like, oh man, I should have bought Cum when it was subs 1 cent.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to today. So today I'm going to the CoinMarketCap website. At this moment, Bitcoin $99,242. They now have the dominance of Bitcoin and Ethereum on here. Bitcoin now at 59% dominance across the entire crypto ecosystem. They have the total market cap 3.3 trillion, 200 billion in trading volume on the day. And now,
Ethereum still number 2.
XRP literally a stable coin from its price in 2021. The exact same price, $1.45 in 2024 and $1.45. Literally.
Point this out to your uncle at Thanksgiving that says, well, I've got my bets on XRP. It's like, yes, like so is everyone else in your position since 2017. A few others from the last bull market that have stuck. BNB seems like
Cardano.
Solana as well. Cardano somehow. Dogecoin unseating Cardano, which we're here for that.
We're all here for this. There's a couple altcoins that Bitcoiners will not admit that they kind of like, but Dogecoin and Monero are those two.
I will not be happy until Dogecoin is the number 2 asset on CoinMarketCap.
I think so. Yeah.
I want it to be the default liquidity for something like DAI, and I want people to be trading this on marketplaces for other shitcoins. We want this. Shiba Inu 12. What?
So the Shiba Inu crowd is kind of weird, because in the Gwart Pod episode with James, I forget his last name, Prestwich, a few weeks ago, James actually pulled out some deep SHIB lore, which I didn't know. And it it was a criticism of Vitalik, where Vitalik had apparently was the reason Shiba Inu was legitimized very early on, in that it was airdropped to his wallet, and then he sold a lot of it, and then was instrumental, because he wanted to sell it, in getting it listed on exchanges.
Oh wow, no way. I
And
did
so
not.
that was the kind of crossing of the chasm for this particular cute
So
dog.
I knew that he sold his stake in it. I did not know that he pushed for exchanges to list it. This is why people don't like Ethereum, because like Vitalik kind of runs around like he's this utopian, like socialist. I'm just trying to do what's good for everyone, bro. And then like he gets allegedly Sheeb listed on exchanges just so he can offload his bags. And then he tells all of the exchanges during the DAO hack, hey, can you stop trading so that I can fork this coin and then save this project? I mean, like,
Well, but Colin, he donated his Shiba Inu profits to some nonprofit. But then, as James Prestwich says on Gord's podcast, which you should listen to, he donated it, and the person running that particular nonprofit is one of the co-founders of Polygon, and that money is still sitting in the Polygon founder's wallet. So,
wow, really?
yep, there's your damning evidence. So anyway,
this is why also people stomach Solana more, is like at least the grifting is kind of naked, and they don't try to pretend to be changing the world. I can't tell you how many times I heard an Ethereum actionalist be like, we're building a new internet, bro. Bitcoin's not even Turing complete, bro. Like, we're going to use it for everything, bro. DeFi is changing the world. No, it's not. It never did. It was people trading cum token for butt token on a yield farming platform with 30% APY. And it was people financially vomiting into each other's mouths and then regurgitating that into gains. It was the 2 girls 1 cup of crypto. It was the DeFi summer.
2 girls 1 crypto.
2 girls 1 crypto.
Well,
anyway, sorry, rant over.
Well, the thing is that this is where Colin and I, we do have different takes on certain broader things in crypto. But the title of this is How to Survive the Bull Market. And really what you heard us do is just go through previous bull markets, because what will happen will rhyme with what has happened. Now,
Yep.
We reserve the right of the space to have been wrong about some of these somewhere, sometime. But like you listener, if you've made it this far, it's fun to buy these JPEGs and these ruins tokens. I do it myself. It's really fun. I will host these people on my podcast and talk about them because I love this. But these are speculative. And the thing that you want to own really is Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin maximalist episode of Bitcoin Season 2, because I don't think Bitcoin maxis do and give this like historical precedent enough treatment in a way to demonstrate that they actually are familiar of why they call these other things shitcoins. So,
Yep.
On that note, Colin, we are sitting here absolutely teasing 99.5.
It's funny. This is terminus. This is the final price. We will never go over 100K. Bitcoin will be 99.3 or 99.5 for the rest of your life. Go home. Have fun, everyone.
Bitcoin 1. Have fun staying the exact same net worth. Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin forever. And that actually means that it's going to be flat. You wanted to get rid of the volatility. Now you did.
This is the new stable coin.
Yeah. The 98K is the new 58K. Yeah. So you listener,
kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think everybody in the dog is doing an episode of a podcast, which is somewhat self-congratulatory, a little onanistic, but also we've suffered. We've been in the trenches. You Solana people, you don't know what the trenches are. We're in the trenches.
Yeah.
We've eaten shit for many cycles, and we've had to learn through trial and error that
You merely adopted the bear. I was born in it, molded by it. I did not see the all-time high until I was but a man.
yeah, exactly as Bain Capital said. That's how that's